I tend to keep away from indulging nostalgia. Few things from times less modern are more favorable than being here today. But that said, there are a few things to which I find myself returning for a taste of comfort, and one of those morsels of delightful memory that I allow myself is Roller Coaster Tycoon 2. Developed by Chris Sawyer, it was released in 2002 by Infogrames Interactive. The game was completely developed by Sawyer and is one of the touchstones that I most come back to conceptually when arguing for auteur theories to include solo game devs alongside Concerned Ape. However, Sawyer did in fact hire an artist and composer, Simon Foster and Alistair Brimble, to work on the areas that he could not, unlike Concerned Ape. In fact, it's quite astonishing to me that pop culture and even more widely, scholars and critics fail to derive meaning from the success of small teams, indeed, sometimes even just one person, achieving a narrow goal that completely fulfills their vision and brings it to life before your eyes in ways that large studios struggle to replicate, even with limited resources and vast challenges within the menial processes of creating a game. When I first purchased the game off of GOG, I had thought it an oddity or some sort of antique of a bygone era of gaming culture. Its 2.5D isometric graphics, woefully cobbled to a restrictive grid of clunky squares, presented to me corner on. It took me quite a while before a mood to indulge in it struck me again. But when it did, I was of course amused that the engine still chugged away reliably, modern hardware bringing little to the table that it could even take advantage of. I was in awe at how the groups of thrill seekers and gentle riders would flock to my park at steady frame rates. The creativity one can leverage in such a game no longer has only decorative properties, but when you engineer things adequately, can produce large amounts of cash. And of course, cash is king when you're in this industry. In fact, the amounts you'll need may seem enormous at first, but with time and increased efficiency, you too could be taking advantage of the reptilian hindbrains of guests and robbing them of their loot in record time, and under budget too. But even with this sort of reward center brain massaging going on, I still never once got sick of the excited yells of guests exiting a ride that I myself had designed within the limits of their strict palates. Whether creating monumentous towers of steel that attracted only the most daring, or applying a dab hand to the gentlest rides for those with gastrointestinal distress, I am overcome with a peculiar zen when crafting parks in miniature. It very much feels like shifting about rocks in a tiny garden of sand, but more of a controlled chaos than true tranquility, and with more garish ragtimes. Well, regardless of all this tinkering and introspective navel-gazing over nostalgia, is the game still alive? No, of course not, and you hardly need me to give you that answer. Does it truly matter if a game has lived and then died after some years, or does it matter if even well past its release and decline into irrelevance that we enjoy it still? I don't know, but I will continue to weave a forbidden spaghetti of steel and laughter throughout my parks. I really appreciate the views I've received. Every single one of you is amazing, and thank you for interacting with an online community that we can all be a part of. Throw me a like, maybe subscribe. I couldn't do it if it weren't for all of you. Oh, and I went for a more tight writing style on this one. Let me know what you thought down in the comments. This is Dead Game Keen, and I hope we get together again real soon.